Rinig ka.
Okay. Uh, Good afternoon, everyone. I'll be your substitute teacher for today. And for the topic today, it will be 21st century literary genres. But before we start, let's feel the presence of God and have a short session of prayer after while watching this video or listening in this. Okay, we have finished our praying session. And anyone want to share what they feel right now after that prayer session?
Opo, sir.
Yes, Mr. Gilvanday.
Um, I think it is this nostalgic kasi we used to sing that song when I am elementary. And yeah, it reminds me of how easy it is dati compared sa mga ngayong activities and pendings. Sobrang overwhelming. Pero ayun, it reminds me of how easy it is dati. And yeah, nostalgic nga.
Okay, Mr. Gilvan, thank you for sharing. Let's start our lesson for today. I will present this slide. Yes, second. Okay, once again, our lesson for today is 21st century literary genre. Next. Okay, 21st century literature. What is 21st century literature? Can anyone give me an answer for that? Anyone from the house?
Or
Yes, sir, Gilban.
may echo po.
Ooh,
I think there's an echo on your audio. I don't know. Sige. Pero what is 21st century literature? Based on the word 21st century, I think this is the year beginning from 2001 up
hinaan nyo.
till the
May
present,
echo. May
up
echo nga.
to I think to 2100. And literature are work of arts. So if you combine those two, those are the works uh, that are being made or created during the 21st century, which range from 2001 hanggang present.
Yeah, yes, thank you for the answer, and that is correct. 21st century literature refers to world literature produced during the 21st century. And the measure of year is for the it's literatures from made written from the year 2001 until the present. By a short review from our past lesson, for the first for the number one, what is poetry? Can anyone give an answer to that? Just a short review. Okay, no one.
Ako, sir.
Poetry. Okay, yes. Sorry.
So it is an imaginative awareness of experience expressed through meaning, sound, and rhythmic language choices to evoke an emotional response. So these are the work of literature that has structure and also expressed with emotions and also with structure nga, by stanzas and by ano yan, yung sukat, ayun.
Hmm. Thank you for answer. And for the second one, what is the difference of fiction and non-fiction? Let me answer that to make it faster. And the main difference between fiction and non-fiction is that fiction is an outcome of imagination, while non-fiction is based on facts and reality. The, Next one. Okay, let's start our 21st century literature genre. Next slide. Who wants to read for the illustrated novel? Anyone want to read the slide for this?
Ako, sir.
Yes, Mr. Malaay.
Illustrated novel. An illustrated novel is a story or narrative told through words complemented by illustrated images. In most illustrated fiction, 50% of the narrative is presented without words, while some may not contain any text at all. So the reader must interpret the images to comprehend the story completely.
Yes, illustrated novel uses its illustrations to forward its plot, and you will notice when reading one that its texts are very few. One example of an illustrated novel is Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland. It became popular worldwide due to its illustrations that depicts Alice's adventure in her dreams. Next one, digifiction. Digifiction is also called triple media literature. It uses the combination of three media: book, movie, video, and internet uh, to tell a narrative, so readers must engage in navigating, reading, and viewing in all three forms to comprehend the full story. Digital fiction or digifiction is fiction that is written for and read from a computer or accessed through apps. They are different from ebooks. Instead of the simple print of the story, digifiction may use hyperlinks and moving images or sound effects. In other words, they are a type of storytelling that is very interactive to the readers. Okay, for the next one, who wants to read for graphic novel?
Sir.
Yes, Miss Jen Arnilia.
Graphic novel. Graphic novels are narratives told in comic strip formats and published as a book. To differentiate from illustrated fiction, graphic novels tells a story using a combination of words and pictures in a sequence across the page. The term is employed in a broad manner, encompassing non-fiction works and thematically linked short stories as well as fictional stories across several genres.
I thank you. Graphic novels are similar to comic books because they use sequential art to tell a story. And unlike comic books, graphic novels are generally standalone stories with more complex plots. And graphic novels are also rich in text and illustrations in comic strip format to narrate or tell a story. Okay, for the next one, there, manga. Who wants to read for the manga?
Ako po, sir.
Yes, Mr. Gil Van Gay.
Manga. Manga is the Japanese word for comics. It is used in English-speaking world as a generic term for all comic books and graphic novels originally published in Japan. Manga-style comics created by American artists are sometimes called manga.
Thank you for that. Manga are comics or graphic novels which originates from Japan. Most manga conform to a style developed in Japan in the late 19th century and has a long prehistory in earlier Japanese arts. And manga stories are typically printed in black and white due to time constraints and artistic reasons. And as you can see in the for the example, these are the type of covers manga have. And
Sir,
some manga, yes, Mr. Gale,
ano ba question?
yes. What's your question,
Um,
Mr. Galvanley?
Kompleto. So, what is anime and manga connected? Are they connected?
Yes, they are connected. Anime is the adaptation of manga. They are animated. Manga are chosen to be animated and then televised to live television for the people to watch. So
Okay,
yes, they
thank
are
you.
connected. Okay, back to the topic. Some manga categories include the following: shonen boys manga, which covers Naruto, Bleach, or One Piece. Shoujo girls manga, which is the kind of anime which Sailor Moon kind of animes, canon. And seinen men's manga for Akira. Josei women's manga are Loveless and Paradise Kiss. And Kodomo children's for Doraemon and Hello Kitty. It targets mostly young children.
Sir.
Yes, Mr. Gale, is your question again.
So, what do you think is the difference between anime and cartoon?
Uh, I think anime is just the Japanese term for cartoons. So they are basically the same, just different word ayun, from another language.
Okay po.
Okay, next topic. What's the next topic? Okay, doodle fiction. Doodle fiction is a literary presentation where the author incorporates doodle writing, drawings, and handwritten graphics in place of the traditional font. Doodles are simple drawings or random shapes and lines that may or may not have concrete representational meanings. This enhances the story, often adding humorous elements. Doodle fiction are usually humorous comedy books, and they cater to younger children. And the drawings in this kind of literature are very important for the story because they add comedy and life to the story. And this famous example of doodle fiction is Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Okay, next one, text of novels. Who wants to read for the text of novels? Anyone wants to read?
Sir,
Okay, Miss Jan Anila, please read.
Textdoc novels. Textdoc novels are stories told almost entirely in dialogue, simulating social network exchanges. Narratives are usually presented in blog, email, and IM or instant messaging format. Jenny wrote Almoceras, Vince and Cat, released by ABS-CBN Publishing, is a good example of this genre.
Thank you. Textbook novels. It's one of the more modern ways of writing stories and novels. As you can see, it's usually written on a cellular phone via text messaging. As you can see in that example, it's a form of text of novel, and it's you can see it's written in a type of message, and it can be in the form of text messaging, emails, letters, or blog, and the story it usually has is kind of a thriller or horror types, I think. Hmm. Okay, for the next one, chick chick or chick literature. Chick lit is an often humorous and light-hearted fiction which addresses issues of modern womanhood. Stories may include romantic relationships, friendships, and issues in the workplace. It generally targets young women readers. Okay. As you can see, it novel chick literature or novels identified as chick lit typically address the contemporary womanhood and their relationship and struggles in uh, workplaces. And as, you- as you can see, it targets young women readers because authors are also usually women themselves. So they can understand the problem they all face together. Okay, for the flash fiction. Who wants to read for the flash fiction?
Ako na, sir.
Yes, Mr. Malaay.
Flash fiction. Flash fiction is a story narrated in an extremely brief way, but still offers plot and character development and implies a larger story. It could range from a word to 1,000. Varieties of flash fiction identified by word count include six-word stories, or six words, dribble or mini saga, 280 character story or twiterature, drabble or microfictions, sudden fiction, and flash fiction.
Okay, thank you for that. Flash fiction is a genre of fiction defined as a very short story. While there is no set word count that separates flash fiction from more traditional short stories, flash fiction stories can be as short as a few words. You can see in that example, some of them can be just as short as 6 words. There. Okay, for the next one, flash
Sir.
fiction. Yes, Mr. Gale, what is it?
So, I just observed kasi there's also a term in literature na short story. So, what
Yes.
is the difference between short story versus flash fiction?
Uh, Short stories focuses more on what is happening on that particular story, uh, while flash fiction, I think, focuses more on the character and their character development in the span of that few words. I think that's what makes it different.
Okay po.
Is there any question again? Anything? Uh,
Um, Wait. For 6 word stories, how do you find it? Is it contentful or I don't know? Kasi 6 words lang siya. Eh. Or
um,
what is the significance of 6 word stories na lang?
I think those 6 word stories may only contain something about us a particular statement of what the character might be experiencing on whatever the kind of story it is happening in that 6 word story.
Okay po.
Wait, next one. Creative nonfiction. Creative nonfiction. Creative nonfiction is also known as literary nonfiction or narrative nonfiction. It is a genre of writing that uses literary styles and techniques to create factually accurate narratives. In contrast with other nonfiction such as technical writing or journalism, which also rooted in an accurate fact, it is not primarily written in service to its craft. As a genre, creative nonfiction is still relatively young and is only beginning to be scrutinized with the same critical analysis given to fiction and poetry. And see in that example, it's kind of creative nonfiction. And the only difference of creative nonfiction and normal nonfiction is the distinct style it has. Can't really describe what kind of style it is, but that's what makes it different. The style of writing and how it's presented as a literature. And the next one, science fiction. Who wants to read for the science fiction?
Ako po, sir.
Yes, Mr. Dale.
Science fiction. Science fiction is a genre of speculative fiction dealing with imaginative concepts such as futuristic science and technology, space travel, time travel, faster than light travel, a parallel universe, and extraterrestrial life. It often explores the potential consequences of scientific and other innovations and has been called a literature of ideas.
Thank you for that. Science fiction is a form of fiction that principally deals with impact of actual or imagined science upon society or individuals. And its customary theatrics or of science fiction uh, usually include prophetic warnings, utopian aspirations, Titanic disasters, strange voyage, and many more. And you can see from this example are famous science fictions. Ready Player One and The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. And they both have a movie adaptation. Ready Player One fits the utopian aspiration while The War of the Worlds fits Titanic disasters. Okay, next one, blog. A blog, or shortened form of weblog, is a website containing short articles called posts that are updated regularly. Some blogs are written by one person, containing his or her own opinions, interests, and experiences, while others are written by different people. And it is an online journal where an individual or corporation can present their record of activities. It typically features an article written in a conversational style, like it's talking to someone, and it's sometimes accompanied with pictures or videos to make it colorful or lively. For the last one, who wants to read for hyper poetry?
Sir.
Yes, Miss Jan Amelia.
Okay. Hyperpoetry is digital poetry that uses links and hypertext markup. It can either involve set words, phrases, lines, and etc. that are presented in variable order but sit on the page much as traditional poetry does. Or it can contain parts of the poem that move and transform. It is usually found online, but CD-ROM and diskette versions exist. The earliest examples date to no later than the mid 1980s.
Thank you for that. Hyperpoetry refers to the genre of poetry that is always produced and presented with the computer. It involves lines of verses that appear with links to footnotes, generators, subpoems, or poetry with images and or movement. And it heavily relies on visual to make it appealing. Yeah. Okay, for the assignment, sabi ni Gail, Gail said there's a spoiler. If you can see in that
Yeah.
side, there is no assignment. No.
Yay!
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
Thank
Hey,
you.
cheers.
Do you have any questions for this lesson? Did you understand?
Do you want
Nan
me?
po.
Do you
None?
want?
Uh,
Wait,
no, so smart.
wait. I think
What?
I have a question.
What is it, Mr. Gale?
Let's go back to the anime side, so,
Oh,
to the manga side again.
hey, manga. Which part?
The second one.
Yes. What's your question?
Hmm. There's an anime that I saw in the internet. I don't know what the anime is called, pero it's I don't know what category it is, pero I think it's an action anime,
Okay,
which
interesting.
yeah,
Action anime.
yeah. And I think it happens on somewhere ice cream shop or something.
Action, but there's an ice cream. Can you
Uh,
care to elaborate the
do you want me
context
to
of the?
elaborate?
Sure. Why
Mm,
not?
Inside the ice cream shop, there's like two people there.
Okay.
Um, they're fighting each other with some swords, some kind of swords.
What?
Yeah, they have swords. I don't know. It's
Sword
weird.
fight?
Yeah, inside the
An
truck
anime about sword fighting.
and
Is that what you're
inside the
saying?
ice cream truck.
In an ice cream truck.
Yeah. I know Japanese are weird, man.
And
I
Ice
think
cream truck.
what's the name of that anime, Mr. Gale? Can you
uh,
share to
I
us?
I think I forgot the title of the anime, but I think it started with letter B,
B.
like
That's
Boku
it.
no Hero Academia, something like that.
I see. I think they have an interesting action scene. A
Yeah,
sword
yeah,
fight in an ice cream truck.
yeah. It's weird, man.
Labo.
Uh, Do you have still
Malabo.
any question?
I think John Malaay wants to add something.
What is it,
Na.
Mr. Malaay?
Wala
There's
po, sir.
something?
Wala.
Wala.
No, I
Okay.
think Malaay wants to add something.
Ice
The,
cream truck sword fight?
Yeah.
What?
there's
Don't you
still
know that anime? It
No,
became popular, dude.
I am trying to find it, but I can't find anything.
It's like
uh,
there's two people in there, and then they're
Uh,
fighting. Yeah.
but ice cream truck. Where the hell did you get ice cream truck?
Don't you know that anime? Oh
No.
my god.
What the? I
It's
keep
just my concern, man.
seeing
It's just my concern.
SAO.
Uh,
does
ayun
Steve
lang.
have any other concern?
I think that's it. Pero I think John Malay has something to add.
Uh, do you have something
No?
to add, Mr. Malay?
Hold up.
No? Why are you lying, Mr. Gale?
I'm sorry. Okay, so I think our lesson is wrap up.
Okay, thank you for attending this class, everyone. And I hope you learned something today. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, tapos na.
Stop ka
Okay,
na.
pwede na po kayo leave. Thank you, thank you.
Okay naman, di ba?